Everyone, and welcome for this run of Gran Turismo 2. I think it's the first time we see a Gran Turismo game at ESA.
Might be, yes. This might be a
At
first.
least I don't recall it appearing. So this is the all licenses category, so we will play all through 60 license tests. The game has to offer from B license to S in order. So yeah, I guess we are ready.
Yeah.
And we'll
ready.
start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Nice. Off we go. And we're off. And immediately into a loading screen. Yay.
Yeah, PS1 loading screen, we love them. And we start with the prettiest car in the run, of course. This wonderful Toyota Yaris. So this is B1, so it's a classic early test in Gran Turismo games. So we will drive for 1,000 meters and then stop in the checkered flag area.
Yeah.
And yeah, we need all 4 wheels in it, and if we have 2 wheels outside or 2 wheels in the grass, the test will fail. And yeah, as you can see, this car gets it's a bit slow to get there.
It's good to take a good hour. We'll get there.
Yeah, and then we will brake here and wiggle a bit to stop the car better, because in this game you stop the more optimally at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
And yeah, this car is a bit hard to swing because it's so slow.
Yeah, so because this is all licenses, we've got 6 licenses altogether, which is the B, A, I, C, I, B, I, A, and the S licenses, all with 10 licenses each, making for a grand total of 60. So first thing you'll know, for a start, obviously each car's going to be different depending on the circumstances. Some will be point A to B, like this, literally start and stop. But obviously as the tests, as you progress through the licenses, the tests get more difficult. And the goal times get more difficult to achieve. Now, one thing that Wazan will not be doing is probably going for gold on absolutely everything. This actually makes the run a slight bit faster, only because of the fact that when you get all golds on a license, as is the case with every Gran Turismo game, you get a prize car, which will obviously waste time. So the idea is to at least get gold on most if we can, and then if we get silver or bronze, it's fine. The bare minimum for this category, obviously, is the bronze. So as you can see, there's like usually a second or so difference, but the more you get into the licenses, the gaps get a slight bit smaller. But obviously when you get to, as I said, well, the licenses get more tough as you go on. So it really becomes a case of car control. And if I'm not mistaken from memory, from when we was talking about this game, is that, so in the main base game, for the most part, you only need up to IA license.
Yeah, you do. The S license is quite useless for the game progression, because the only thing it gives you is the event generator. You don't need any other. There's no other races where you need the S license to access. It also gives you a bunch of tracks for arcade mode, and if you get all golds on S, you get the Toyota GT1.
Which is a pretty good car for the most part.
Which is a pretty good
start of the game as well.
Yeah, and it's the only way to get it in the game.
So one of the main things as well, you can tell like this game is quite old, given how like some of the cars are. It's like an old Nissan Micra. Like we don't see that in games these days, especially racing games. But yeah, so for the most part, like I said, each different license will be more difficult than the last. The one thing that has stuck over the years with Gran Turismo is the licenses. I haven't really played the new one, so I can't really say much about it.
I don't own a PS5, so I didn't play it, but I'm pretty sure the licenses are there as well.
But like licenses like this, so you can see at the moment, so obviously we're going round in a circle, but this is actually one of the staples of Gran Turismo. Not just the licenses, but this one as well. For some reason, they wanted to make you drive. I mean, you know when they say, oh, okay, racing games are all about driving in circles, we are literally doing that in a license. Luckily in game, like you don't actually have to do that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing as well in like is in Gran Turismo 3, you can actually find, or I believe as well, that there's like secret tracks hidden in the game's files. For the most part, I think it was definitely one in Gran Turismo 3 anyway. For the second one, I would imagine it'd be the same. But yeah, so I mean, to kind of explain a few things as well. So with licenses, again, probably not going to repeat myself, but yeah, for the most part, they are like point A to point B. Each one, like I said, each one will be a different car, things like that. And this game came out in 1999, I believe, just before the turn of millennium. So hence the reason. This was a big step up over the original Gran Turismo. Main reason being, so if I'm not mistaken, so there is like obviously like the simulation mode and stuff in the original Gran Turismo, isn't there?
Yeah. This is simulation mode, technically.
Yeah, so there is like several categories for the game. Obviously, you've got all licenses. I think it's all gold prizes as
Yeah.
well, which is very tough, as you might imagine. The longest run in Gran Turismo 2 is 100%.
Yeah, and 100% for this game is 25 hours long
Yeah.
for the record.
Now, bear this
Oh,
in
yeah.
mind for a second. So, in racing games, especially with 100%, a lot of the time there's no downtime. Like, obviously, you've got load times, like now, where it's like maybe like 3 or 4 seconds. That's not a lot of time. If you think about it, like
you-
25 hours, yeah,
Yeah.
you'll be dead by the end of it, pretty much.
Yeah.
Props off to the guys that do run this at 100%. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. Speaking of people that run this game, though, might as well get mentions of a couple other people as well. Tomb K, he's run this game for quite a long time. It's one of his absolute favourites. So a big mention goes out to him on that one. He used to do something called Manufacturer Mondays, I believe, which was more of a niche category than anything else. It was basically completing all of the races for each manufacturer. Hence the
I think
reason
this
manufacturer.
category is crazy long as well.
Yeah, I think it's like 8-9 hours or
Yeah,
something. I mean, compared to like most categories in the game. So the regular any percent for this is about what, an hour and 10?
For PAL USA, it's like 2 hours 40.
Yeah. Like one of the main things as well is, again, because this was the PlayStation 1, and remember region differences? Yep, this game got it as well. So I believe it's in some licenses, if I'm not mistaken anyway, some of the licenses were made easier or more difficult. And apparently, from what we was talking about, the PAL version has the most difficult times to achieve.
Yeah, overall, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not true for all of the tests.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the goal times are different for every version of the game, Japanese, US, and PAL. So this is the US version. That's why the goal times might not be the one you remember from playing the game back then.
Also, so this car had like 2 different names, I believe, didn't it? The Ford, the one we just drove.
Yeah, it has the
it's the
Ford
it's
Cougar or
Ford
Mercury as well.
That's
The
the one,
Mercury
yeah.
Cougar as well.
So it depends on which region you're in, depending on what the car's called. So
Yeah, same
yeah.
with the Opels and the Vauxhalls. They change name based on the region.
Also, so we got the B license done, so that's one down.
Yeah, which is by far the easiest one.
Yeah.
I also forgot to mention that I will donate $1 for each gold I will get this run.
Oh, okay.
And I got
put
7,
money
I
on-
think, in B.
Yeah.
That's already 7.
I think you got about 6 or 7, so
Yeah.
that's already
I
like
counted
6 or 7 bucks.
Yeah. We can recount it at the end anyway.
Oh yeah. Yeah, why not? Speaking of donations, we got time to get one read.
Yeah, because this is another stopping test. So yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Flying Dutchie sends $10 our way, saying, "Hey cousin, good luck on the run. Let's get as many golds as possible." Thank you very much for that donation.
Yeah, thank you, Dachi.
So one of the things you'll notice as well, I think I might have already mentioned this, but one of the main things that he does in the straight line test, you can see, is he often tries to get the car to slide. This is to knock off excess speed and makes the car stop faster.
Yeah.
Also, you can use like handbrake.
45 degrees is the best angle to stop in this
Yeah.
game. So in this test, we're gonna shift up right away because this car has insane torque. And this time the stopping zone is in a turn. So we'll stick to the inside, brake around here, and try to be 45 degrees. And that should be free gold. Yep,
Just.
got it. Yeah.
It always makes me wonder because I remember trying a Gran Turismo license test, and I was like, if there was anything like the Poison Chalice for a racing game, license tests for Gran Turismo were right. There was no hesitation.
So yeah, this test is similar to one we got with in B, but we are starting faster this time at 150 kph instead of 50.
Oh, that's something actually. Well, also on topic of things, is that in later Gran Turismo games, when you click start and you start the license tests, the game doesn't throw you, well, it does throw you into it, but normally you get a good run up. Whereas in this game, you're on black
you have
screen,
no
you're
run-up.
immediately thrown into it head
Yeah.
first. Like, there's no, unless you know what's coming, you're in trouble.
And
Like, as you can see, like, he's literally on the start line. Like, normally in, like, the games after this anyway, they give you a run up, just not too bad. So you're like, oh, okay, I've got, like, maybe a second or two before I can take control of the car so you can clearly see what's in front of you. Whereas in the old ones, it was like, bang, there you go, straight into it, try and do it.
Yeah, and on top of that, on some of these tests, they throw you with the car on the really top of the gear, so you need to gear up straight away because you're already over revving. So luckily, you can buffer the gear up input. So yeah, if you remember what test you're in, you can buffer the gear up input at the start if needed to not over rev it.
Also,
Okay,
music for this
so
isn't
it's
too
scary.
bad.
Yeah,
I
this
know
is NTSC soundtrack, so it's better than on
Oh.
PAL.
I was actually going to say, so there is actually a bit of a meme for the Gran Turismo games, particularly this one. So the soundtrack for the NTSC version, the soundtrack for PAL, I can't speak for the Japanese release, but there's a substantial difference.
Yeah.
Mainly the fact that there's a song by Fatboy Slim in the PAL version, and it's basically deafening. Let's just put it that way. I was going to say something else, but yeah, it's deafening whenever you hear it, and it plays about, I would say, 80-90% of the time. If you have an endurance race and you've got to listen to that particular song for 2 hours straight, yeah, you'll go insane.
Yeah, because
So-
when you launch when you launch a race, it only loads one music, no matter the length of the race. So yeah, if you're into an endurance, it can be pretty long, and there's not that many of them. You will hear the same
Which
song
is why,
over and over. There's like 8 different
yeah,
each version. So yeah.
which is why, like, whenever you play this game, most runners tend to play with the music off and play their own music. I mean, there's nothing wrong with listening to your own music, is there? I don't see why not. What you enjoy. So yeah, just a bit of like a heads up. But yeah, so we're about halfway through the A license at the moment. The funny thing is, so just before this run, I say just before this run, like a couple of days ago whilst Gazon was practicing, he decided to send me notes. I'm not kidding when I say it's an essay of about 2,000 words. Like, I wish I could show the camera, but there's absolutely loads. I mean, I could probably show the crowd behind me if they can see it. Can you see it? Yeah, it's quite a lot. But
So
yeah,
yeah, on B and A, tests are not too hard yet. We're still getting a good
Also-
amount of gold.
oh my god, is that a Supra?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You will see it. You will see it many more times. The Supra is pretty used in this run. So this test coming up is a bit scary because it's a chicane where we like to cut into the inside to make a shorter distance. But the thing is, if I put 4 wheels into the grass or hit a wall too hard, the test will fail, and I will have to redo it.
There's actually
So
one
if I
thing.
cut a bit too much by 1 pixel, I would have to redo the test. But I want to cut as far as possible. So yeah, for a full run, I'm taking it a bit safer and not risking the pixel. But
I was going to say, speaking of Supras, we're back in one again.
yeah,
And it's another yellow one. I was going to say, do you ever think of changing the colour? I mean,
oh no, I really.
well, it happens. I was going to
Yeah.
say, they should have had one yellow, one purple. That actually would have gone really well, because the ESA is purple and yellow, so...
So yeah, exactly what could happen in this chicane.
Yeah.
Sadly, so yeah, we have to redo it.
What about
Luckily,
the
it's a
music?
pretty short. Oh.
Alright.
This car likes to slide. So yeah, it will be slow, but I should have. Yeah, I'll have a lot of leeway to the bronze time. So
I love how the music went
No
like dead
consequence.
intense, and then as soon as you failed, it's like, like dead calm and quiet. Also, A license, so we got 2 down.
yeah,
And
two down.
now on to
More to
the
go.
intermediate ones, aren't we?
Yeah.
IC, IB,
we are
IA.
coming to IC, and the first 2 tests of IC, I used to have a lot of trouble with them, but I got better at it, luckily.
Also 3 golds, that's not
Even
3
though
points.
I'm about to jinx myself, but yeah, it's a corner that's gonna tighten more and more and more. It's a pretty long corner that will keep tightening, and yeah, actually, thank God the game puts us the yellow line here because it would be pretty tricky to really like have good markers on this corner to brake and turn if we didn't have it.
Yeah, so a lot of these cars, as you might imagine, they have their own. I mean, each car in the game handles different. I mean, what
Yeah.
do you expect? Yeah, so for the most part, a lot of the cars are, especially in the licenses anyway, a vast majority are either front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. There are obviously all-wheel drive cars in here as well, but there's a lot less of them, surprisingly. You'll notice a lot of the back end spins out. For those that don't know the terminology for cars or anything like that, if it says FR, I believe it's rear wheel drive, but it's front engine,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
MR being rear wheel drive, middle engine, and FF being obviously engines at the front. Drivetrain goes to the front, and obviously you can get like other ones as well, obviously like four-wheel drive, for example, which I think that kind of goes out saying, power goes to all four wheels. So just a bit of car knowledge for people that don't know about that.
So, yeah, this test is pretty famous, especially the next one. This one is the easiest version. So it's with the Camaro, we have this 290 degrees corner. But yeah, as you can see, there's no walls or anything like that, so we can cut a bit through the grass. And the goal time here is not too hard, even though I don't think I'm gonna get hit here. Yeah, I'm barely missed it, yeah. Sadly, but the next one has the same goal time, but with a twist. And this test is a famous meme because the goal time is insanely hard to get.
Which I also believe is...
So yeah, you have these walls on the side, so now you can't cut inside anymore, but the goal time is still the same, so now it's much harder. And yes, this one is known to be very painful to get gold on, even when you grind just the IL. And yeah, as you can see, the time is a bit slower here, but yeah, I wasn't expecting to get gold on this one.
Funnily enough, in Gran Turismo 3, there is actually a test on the A license that involves the Camaro, and it's also insanely tough, especially to get on a run. So,
okay, so this chicane is a bit scary for some reason because it's really fast and you don't have much room on the outside. So hopefully I won't have to redo it. Yeah, I had to release a lot here to keep it a bit safe.
Nice. I was going to say, so a lot of the tracks that are in Gran Turismo 2 never got past this game. So they,
yeah,
like, for
including
example,
this one, Red Rock Valley.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't see it after this game. Never made an appearance.
I mean, it would have been nice. Would have been nice if it came back.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a weird track, to be honest. Pretty cool, but
I think the one thing Gran Turismo did do well, I will be straight up honest. Like, one thing that I always thought that Gran Turismo did do well was the fact that even though a lot of the tracks, I mean, obviously nowadays a lot of the tracks that are in racing games are real rather than fictitious. One thing that Gran Turismo did was convincing you that the fictitious tracks were real and were on location, based around. I mean, I say that it's more like when we got into the PS2 era.
Yeah.
Really, more than the PS1 era. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, yeah, I mean, for the time, I suppose it would have looked it, but the PS2 era then stepped it up, obviously, went into like the next generation. But they did really, really well, especially convincing people. I mean, for me, I always thought Midfield Raceway actually existed for a couple of years.
Yeah,
there's only the first few years.
There's only 2 real tracks in this game, which we will both see in the run.
Wait, only 2?
Yeah, it's only Laguna Seca and Pikes Peak.
Nice.
There are some city circuits that are based off real cities, like Rome and Seattle, but it's not like actual real track, it's just real...
Oh, wait. Speaking of which, we can actually talk about that. Yeah, so the fictitious tracks that Kazan's just mentioned, one of them in particular, Rome, they're both like staples anyway. Seattle and Rome are pretty much staples of GT series. I don't know if they're in the newest one. Yeah. I can't expect.
This game introduced a lot of the Gran Turismo staples, but plus the ones that were in GT1, like High Speed.
Speaking of Rome, here we are. Literally, just to speak of the devil, it appears.
So yeah, this one has a wall ride, which is the only RNG element in the entire run, which is here. I think we got a pretty good one.
It seems like pretty good.
And yeah, if you don't do that, it's the hardest goal in the game if you don't... Yeah, it was not that good actually, but yeah.
I think one thing we can mention actually is the in the main actual like simulation mode, is there's an event which is like the classic car cup, and this is a GT2 meme specific.
Yeah, with the GT40, yeah.
Yeah.
We will see the GT40 later in the run, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, allow me to just kind of quickly explain what Kazan's doing this. Is that so in the classic car cup, it's something like, is it like less than 300 horsepower or something?
Yeah, 295.
And so all these cars appear, so you're like, oh, okay, like Lotus Europa and stuff like that. Or Lotus Elan, I think it is.
IC done.
Something like that. Nice. IC's done. Sweet. There you go.
So now, now this is where the game is. Yeah, this is where the run is gonna get a bit harder. There's quite a step of difficulty in IB, a few scary tests, and also the first rally test. So one thing to mention is that on the US version of the game, the goal time for the rally tests are insanely easy. The reason for that is that in the Japanese version, the rally physics are different. They are slower and harder. And yeah, they didn't change the goal time on the rally test from the Japanese version. So yeah, it becomes a much easier. But if you play on PAL, these goal times are much easier. I think.
Also,
Yeah,
now
for
you-
this one, the goal time is like something in 26 or maybe even a high 25.
So now you're talking my language. Colin McRae style. Let's go.
Yeah, this is
Now
your
you're
game.
talking my language. The guy knows me. What can I say?
So we
Is-
try to avoid to slide, but it's hard to like both not sliding and keep the speed in rallies.
I love that. 27.1. Easy 28.58.
Yeah,
Completely
that would
smashed
be
it.
with every rally test in the run. And yeah, the reason why we play US version instead of Europe is because the loading times are faster, around 3/10 per load, and there's a lot of loading screen as you can see. So because yeah, the physics are pretty much the same. Actually, by pure driving, it would even be a bit better to play on PAL because the analog sensitivity is a bit better on PAL version.
I was just going to say as well, just to kind of finish off the GT2 meme story thing, is that, yeah, so the Classic Car Cup has like a limitation of like just short of 300 horsepower. All the cars that show up there, 99% of the time are that. And then there's this Ford GT40, it's got like 500 horsepower or something, I don't know. A lot more than what's actually required, but it's legal. The game actually treats it as legal. I don't know whether it's due to the age of the car or what. But like when you enter the event, it's for some reason it's like, oh yeah, you try and enter a GT40, you're not allowed. The game can enter one, no problem. It's like it's like the biggest GT2 meme.
Yeah, I think it's just because the the potential opponent list is just hard coded in the game. So they just put the G40 in the list for some reason. Actually, it doesn't have that much horsepower. I think it's only like 330. But the thing is, it's so light of a car and so grippy that yeah, it's insanely fast. And
Which is always a funny thing because like
Yeah.
what the main challenges for GT2 a lot of players seem to treat as anyway is because of it being like it is and obviously being as difficult as it is. They basically turn around and was like, right, okay, is it actually doable? Is it actually possible to beat the GT40 with a slower car? Turns out it is, but it is
Yeah, it
very
is.
difficult. You're constantly getting bashed from behind. It's constantly ramming you. It's so difficult to keep ahead of it. I mean, I wouldn't know personally. I've never tried it.
I did.
But from what I've heard, it is insanely difficult. So it's like if you see it, normally the best thing to do is just back out of it and then go, try and go back into the event and just rinse and repeat. That's it. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, it's very hard if the GT40 starts from pole, because if it starts from pole position,
You've
it
no
will
chance.
just fly away right at the start. Meanwhile, if it starts from the back, you have a chance if it gets blocked by the other AI at the start.
Also, no Mustang, nice.
Okay, so this is the first very scary test in the run. Way scarier than the chicane one. It's the first slalom. There's two slaloms. The first one, the easier one. So yeah, you have to get through here and not hit this. Okay, I got it through cleanly.
Nice,
That's one run killer run.
nice.
So now we have another test, and then we will have the other slalom, which is tougher than this one. This one is a bit tough to goal as well, especially on NTSC. It's one of the few tests that is where the goal time is faster on NTSC than PAL.
I was gonna say, what is this music actually? I was gonna say compared to that, I mean, now I can kind of understand the meme a bit more now with the whole like, oh yeah, things are going well with the NTSC soundtrack. Next thing, pal, like deafening lineup.
Okay, so this is the tricky part. This fast slalom. In the previous one, if you hit one of the tire barriers, sometimes you can get away with it. But on this one, you're too fast. It will end the test immediately. And this car likes to slide. So. Okay, I saved it.
Nice, play it safe.
Yeah, this is not the fastest, but at least I
That's
survived.
done. That's like the main hard one done, right?
Yeah.
For
yeah.
now.
This one is the run killer when you're on a PB attempt. Like you have to get through this one because obviously, if you restart one of these tests in a PB run, you lose 15-20 seconds, and it's just too hard to recover in such a run.
Also, at this point, I'm pretty sure we've gone through all 8 soundtracks at least
Yeah.
once.
Yeah, there's like only 8 songs. So
Because game clarity, game sounds right. Yeah.
And on this test, for some reason, on the US version, you have only 2/10 between gold and silver times.
Oh damn, that's brutal.
Yeah, and actually we will get bronze as a result. That was a bit slow. Yeah, but yeah, it's pretty tight between gold and silver on this one. For some reason, they fixed it in the European release because the European release was the latest one.
Ooh.
Okay, another scary one. We are playing as you.
Yay!
And this is the famous corkscrew turn of Laguna Seca, and yeah, the car is pretty unstable in there.
They're like me. Wait.
Okay, I made it through the hardest part. And here we go.
So one thing I noticed with the Viper, they actually stuck with the same sort of sound over the games.
Yeah, in every Gran
quality
Turismo game it has the same sound.
The funny thing is that also that's IB license acquired, so we got 4 down, 2 to go.
Yeah, 4 down, 2 left.
It might look like, okay, we're halfway through the estimate, but that's because the S license takes a good chunk of that.
Yeah, because S license is only full laps.
Yeah. And if you screw that up, then yeah, that's
a big time loss.
time loss.
Oh fuck, where am I going?
Wrong one, next one. A.
Sorry for that.
A. There you go. There we go. But yeah, we got time for a quick donation?
Yeah, because we're just driving in circle with the Viper, so we can just go through the 2 donations in the meantime.
Yeah. Perfect, I was just about to ask. We have $10 from Vroom Guy X saying, nice to see the CEO of Cursed playing at ESA again. Let's go, cousin. Thank you very much. And we also have $5 from Oki. With all this tech, the run really favors brain over bronze, but I suppose that's quite a silver lining. Keep up the good work, lads. Your symmetry is gold. And have a great Thursday, everyone. Thank you very much for that donation. And that is going to creating your own character in The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, because you can do that if you choose the proper bid war during your donation. Thank you very much for all of your donations so far, and keep them coming.
And don't worry, you will appear once more in the run.
Yay!
On S with the racing counterpart of the Viper.
Team Orica, I think it is, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, actually, we just to quickly mention this as well, is that the corkscrew, the Viper test, that was again. I want to say it was a staple of the early GT games.
Yeah, it's a meme as well. This one.
It came about. I mean, I can't say like how the actual license came about for it, but like in GT3, so
there's the same test in GT3, right?
Same test.
Viper,
And there's also you have to do a full lap as well.
Yeah.
Around Laguna Seca, I think it is.
Yeah, we also have the full lap on with the Oreca, just like in GT2.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one is very hard to gold on the US version as well, because you need a 30 flat, and the world record for this is 29.68 for the IL, so you don't have much room.
That's the world record as well, right?
Yeah, the world record is 29.68, so you need to be within 3/10 of the record to get the gold on this in the US version. On PAL it's 30.2, which is slightly easier.
Nice.
So yeah, another rally test with the Ford Escort.
Okay, I was gonna say it's not that one then.
Yeah, it's the next one with the Escudo one.
Yeah. Oh boy, you're in for a treat in a minute.
But yeah, this one is pretty fast-paced, and hitting a wall will lose you quite a lot of speed, so I need to be somewhat safe in this, even though I have plenty of margin to the goal time. But this went pretty well.
Still makes me laugh. 27.8 is a goal and you get 24 seconds.
Yeah. That's
like
the US version for you. And yeah, here we go. The Escudo. The only time you will see the Escudo in the run.
This is one fast boy.
Yeah, it's the fastest car in the entire game. And yeah, it's a meme as well for Gran Turismo 2 and 3, because you can reach light speed on GT3 with some glitches.
I mean, you can just, bear in mind, we're off-road now. You can easily tell, just watch how it shoots to 100 miles an hour in no time. Yeah, it's a pretty fast thing. So the funny thing is, I think by default in GT2 and 3, it's got about 900 and something brake horsepower. In GT3, if you upgrade it, I think it's the same with this though. If you upgrade it, it can reach like 1700 horsepower.
Yeah, you can't
and it's
upgrade it in this
insanely
game.
quick.
You can't upgrade it in this game, so
Ah.
you're stuck to 981.
Still a lot though.
Yeah.
It's the most.
And yeah, for these two Pikes Peak tests, so the Escudo one and this one.
Also, anybody that's watched Taxi 2 will recognize this guy, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
But I hate this car in this run. But yeah, for both of the Spike Peak tests, the main technique is to like really have a slow apex speed and try to get straighten the car as early as possible and get the power in. It was more obvious with the Escudo because it has a lot of power, meanwhile this car does not.
I'm just waiting for a white Peugeot taxi to come flying past any second now, going photo or something like that, walking past. Say walking past, driving past.
So yeah, IA7, so this is the same as AC9 except we have the race car. We cannot do the wall ride here though because we are too fast. So if we did the wall ride here, the test would fail. The game would register it as too strong of a wall contact.
Also, this car was used in the, well, I say that, I think it was the model before actually, was it? Yeah, it was 155. So the car you can see on screen, so this is the Alpha 155, it'll display it as quick as it shows up. But basically that was used in the 1994 British Touring Car Championship. It then went to the World Touring Car Championship where it did somewhat decent. It was very controversial in the British Touring Car Championship due to the fact that Alfa Romeo sold the car with a wing. And apparently it wasn't against the rules where it was like, oh yeah, so it's a detachable wing. And they ended up like winning the championship by a fair bit, and it seems very controversial. So there goes like a quick fun fact for you.
So this is one of the easiest goals to get in IA license. With the Jaguar XJ220.
Is it Ock that mentioned? It looks like someone sat on the car and just made it as flat as a pancake or something.
Yeah. It's very long as well, it's a very long car, but yeah.
Very wide. One thing that actually stuck in the Gran Turismo series of this car as well, the R390.
Yeah, and corkscrew again, so yeah. This one is a bit scary as well. Because this car can spin a lot as well. Yeah, that was safe, I suppose.
It's easy. There you go. Nice.
So yeah, if you play this corkscrew test on IL, you can beat the goal time by quite a bit because you can just YOLO it. But obviously here we want to make it through in one attempt. So.
Speaking of the GT1, by the way, prize car, here it is.
Here it is, yeah.
You can imagine if you get this at the start of the game, it would be miles faster. A lot of people are probably wondering why the wacky paint job. This is literally how the car looks. I think this is the road car, isn't it?
No, this one is the 98 GT1. Because there's 3 different GT1s in this game. There's the road car, the 98 and the 99.
Also, so that's 5 licenses, which means we've got 1 more.
Yeah.
The last one being the behemoth that is the S license.
Yeah.
Anyone that's played Gran Turismo before and done licenses before, if you ever got to the S licenses, you'll know what's coming. If you haven't, as Gozan was saying before, each one of these tests now will be a full lap of a circuit. And it even has its own dedicated section. So first one being Tahiti Road.
Yeah.
And
first will be Tahiti Road, which is a track that only appears in Gran Turismo 2. Never made an appearance since.
But it's in the best car ever.
Yeah, and it's in the best car ever. It's actually the best weapon if you want to beat the GT40 on that historic car cup race.
There you go. Mini!
Because this car is only 140 horsepower, and it's pretty fast still for the power it has. So it's actually one of the easiest way to beat the GT40 is to use this car.
Just odd though, the fact that it's quick in a couple of games though. This is the thing.
Because it's quick in Colin McRae, yeah.
Well,
I guess it's because everybody loves the Mini.
Somewhat. Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean the Mini's pretty decent. It's like, I mean, front wheel drive and everything, but yeah, this was actually driven by, I mean, just to give a bit of a few facts about it. So this was raced often in, I think it was like between the mid to late 1950s into the 1960s. Basically, it was David versus Goliath sort of stuff. So this took on like cars that were much bigger and won. It was also driven by someone called Paddy Hopkirk. There was other drivers, but Paddy Hopkirk was like the main driving force behind the Mini, as in like making it successful. Yeah, it was a really cute little car. Weirdly enough, my dad used to have one of these. I don't remember what colour it was, but yeah, he used to have one. back in like the 80s or something, according to what my dad said.
Yeah, 111. That's all right. And now we will play actually the GT40 itself, the Myth, the Legend, which is yeah, quite a tricky car to drive. It can be a bit unpredictable, especially in that bumpy section of the Seattle circuit. But yeah, also if you've seen the movie Ford versus Ferrari, you know this car as well.
Yeah, so this is the Ford GT Mark 1, I believe.
Yeah.
The Mark 2 was the modern remake. Oh, let's say that, we've actually got, so theoretically, there's like several different Ford GT40s. You've got like the Mark 1, Mark 2, there's loads.
This sport is a bit
divide
tricky,
you can divide it by
but
generation.
we are fine.
Yeah, you can divide it by generation rather than like the Mark 1, Mark 2. The thing is that when the car was first released in the 60s, this was the Mark 1, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
They had the Mark II, which had a major step up at the back, which is the one that they used during what's it called? During the GT. Well, we'll call it the GT40 phase in the 60s, where they took on Ferrari at Le Mans and won. And then it went into hiding. We'll call it. Let's just say it went into hiding for now. And then in I think like early 2000s, Ford decided to revamp it, which is how we got the Ford Mark II. To like pay homage to the original. Again, same thing, had a race version, things like that. You can buy the car in Gran Turismo 4. I think it was the first Gran Turismo game that was in. And then we moved into the modern generation, the third generation of Ford GT, where they remade it again about 4 years ago.
Oh, we're barely missing gold here, sadly,
Ooh.
by yeah, 0.07.
Pretty good though, considering the car's like a handful.
Yeah, still a bit sad to miss it by this little. So yeah, now we will drive again the Subaru rally car on Smoky Mountain. This time we'll do the entire lap and not just the first corner.
Come on, Colin, let's go.
Oh,
go on, easy.
yeah, this car on the bumps can do some pretty nasty thing. Luckily, you cannot flip in this game. Impossible to flip the car.
Well, I'd hope not. It'd be quite a disaster. Although then again, the cars wouldn't get damaged. That's one thing Gran Turismo doesn't do, I don't think.
I mean, I think
really
from GT5 onwards you can flip.
Does it?
But
Like,
not in the
damage
first 4
cars
games.
badly. Like, really damage the car, like smash someone. The thing is, like, if you're wondering as well why in most racing games you can't destroy cars, like, as in, a lot of times it's like, okay, so your bumper might be slightly hanging off, or there'll be like a massive dent in the car or something like that. It doesn't matter how bad you smash it up, like, you won't have bumpers falling off, doors fall off, anything like that. It's mainly because the fact that if you talk to a car manufacturer and then say, hey, can we use it in a racing game? And they go, yeah, sure. And then you say, oh yeah, so we're going to destroy the cars. Is that okay? They go, oh no, we can't allow that. Yeah, have we got time for any messages?
Yeah, and also most damaged models at the time were not always very good. Like for example, the F1 games at the time, if you played it with damage, it was pretty painful. So yeah.
Yeah. Poker, have you got anything you want to mention?
They just chose to make it simpler and just have no damage model at all.
Sure I do. I just wanted to remind all of our lovely viewers that by donating you can be eligible for some wonderful prizes. You can find them all at prizes.esamarathon.com. Some of these include a custom ESA Nintendo Switch and a custom ESA PlayStation 5. Just a reminder, all of the minimum donations you see on that page are cumulative, so you don't have to donate in a single donation. It's fine if you donate in multiple donations throughout the event. Just make sure you don't miss any of the prizes by a couple dollars. Thank you very much for all of your wonderful donations. We are getting really close to the next $1,000. We're close to 59,000. Get your donations coming. Thank you very much so far.
Okay, that was a bit scary, but I made it through. Not sure if that will be gold though. I think it will be pretty close to the gold time. But yeah, also a famous car. I think this test is also in Gran Turismo 3.
Yes. Yeah, it is, yeah.
And yeah, it's also a famous car. And yeah, Alpha 10s. We are missing the gold bag.
Funnily enough, it's also an S license.
Yeah. Yeah, of course it's a full lap, so. Oh yeah, and this is my least favorite test in the entire run. Yeah, this Lotus Europa is horrible to handle. And it's a pretty difficult track as well, Grindelwald, which is only in Gran Turismo 2. And that huge mountain you could see in the main straight, this huge pile of pixels, it's Eiger, the mountain in Switzerland.
I believe we have a few cheers from Switzerland here.
Yeah. Actually, in later Gran Turismo games, we had more tracks near Eiger. But this one in particular never really came back.
You know what the weird thing is? So this is a Lotus Europa, right?
Yeah.
Why does it sound like the Toyota GT1?
Yeah, I don't
Pretty
know.
sure the car back then did not sound like a car from the 90s. I suppose
But
they
yeah.
ran out of ideas for engine sounds like, oh, we'll just
But
throw that.
it's fun, I hate these cars. This chicane is a bit tricky, it's pretty fast. And the car is not really cooperative. But this time around it went fine.
It's rear-wheel drive, isn't it, this?
Yeah, it is. And yeah, the last two chicanes are pretty straightforward. And yeah, final straight, and
Nice. Nice and
maybe this will be gold? Question mark?
Oh, okay. Is it?
I think it is, yeah. No, it's not.
No, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
Oh, well. That's... Never mind.
yeah.
It'll be
It's
fine.
one of the harder S tracks to get the gold in.
Ah, speaking of taxi before, by the way.
Yeah, here it is.
Here's the 406, the race version, though.
Yeah. Beautiful, isn't it? With a different livery because this is the US version, so
Yeah,
all the SO logos were replaced by Exxon.
Excellent, yeah. I was going to say, so this particular livery is the... well, almost, actually. But it is pretty much the same colours as it. Is the same one that Peugeot used in the, if I'm not mistaken, the 1998 British Touring Car Championship, which is driven by Tim Harvey and Paul Radicic, I believe it was, at the wheel.
And yeah, I didn't do the wall ride because yeah, this car also is too fast for the wall ride. It would fail the test if I did.
Also, 40 seconds flat, nice. For some reason in Gran Turismo, when you hit a checkpoint, it's bang on the dot. That's satisfying to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why, just satisfying.
All right, so that's Rome. That's the Rome circuit that we've seen in a bunch of tests already. And yeah, with that beautiful 4.6, it's among the easier goals to get, I would say, as long as you don't make any major mistake.
Also, this song definitely has like both sides of the what's it called? Both sides of the scale, I think. It's like, it
Yeah.
starts off quiet, it's like, turns into a lot more of a rock song, and then goes
Out
back
of the
to
sound you
back.
can get in game, it's my favorite one.
That's a goal.
Even though there's of course
Another
the
bug.
music from the intro is the best one in the game, but sadly you can't roll it in game. Oh, and it's you again.
Yay. Okay, this is my favorite.
Yeah, actually I don't like this as much because it's pretty difficult, pretty scary. Because yeah, the sand on the sides of Laguna Seca, for some reason in this game you have the grip of the asphalt on it. But it still counts as failing the test if you put 4 wheels on it. So if you want a really fast time, you can, yeah, it's better to risk it. All the track limits like that, to track extend everything you can. Because it's the same grip as asphalt, but yeah, I want to make it, so I will take a bit of margin here. And also this car can slide a lot in the corkscrew.
I was going to say, this isn't F1, so you can track extend if you want.
Yeah.
Fine. The FIA isn't going to clamp you down on you for it.
Well, yeah, this game is worse than the FIA, to be honest, when it comes to track limits, as you can see in that A test.
I was actually going to say, well, that's debatable then, given, yeah.
Okay, barely made it. The car wanted to spin a bit,
Easy.
but this is fine. Need to not brake too late in this one. The last corner is pretty tricky as well. So braking quite early. Shifting up to third to prevent some wheel spin.
Nice.
And off we go. And I don't think this will be goal. Yeah, missing by 2 tenths.
Still, not bad effort, all things considered, right?
Yeah, I got plenty of runs when it went worse on this one. I also lost many runs to this test. So here come S8, the final rally test in the run, which is on Tahiti Maze, which made it into Gran Turismo 3 and 4 as well. So it's quite a long track with a lot of hairpins.
Coincidentally as well, there's the final rally test on Gran Turismo 3 is the same thing almost.
Yeah, but with a newer Evo, yeah.
Yeah. So the Evo that you use in that is the Evo 7 prototype. I mean, one thing Gran Turismo definitely does a lot of is throwing concept cars, prototype cars, and things like that. Something that's not really seen these days.
There's a lot of concept cars in the latest games.
As much.
Like there's also Vision GT.
I suppose there is that actually, yeah. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
But yeah, all the GT games have funny concept cars.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I did actually forget about GT concept. Oh, the concept, sorry.
Yes, this game has a few funny concept cars as well, like the Chrysler Phaeton, which we are not seeing in the run, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, actually, a little sign now off the top of my head. These hairpins can be a bit of a nightmare if you don't get them right.
You need some patience in it because you need quite a slow apex speed to get, to be efficient in it. Like if you try to enter them too fast, it will just not work out.
Car slides, it'll
So
slide
you really need to like stay calm and not try to push it too much on this track. Keep slow apex speed and efficient exit. Oh, that's a bit too much sliding.
Alright, now you're just showing off. I
And
mean, it is a rally game to be fair now.
And this is since this is US version. Oh, I think this is my PB of the IL actually.
Oh, I suppose that's a win, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the donation for that one? Is that like $10 if you beat it?
I don't know, I didn't plan on this one. Okay, so this S9 is Rome Night. It's a track you might have never seen before, even if you played that game, because it's not in any event in the game. The only time you can get it is either through arcade mode, but you need the S license to have it in arcade mode, or you can also have it in the one-make races where the track is randomly selected. It's not in any other event. So yeah, many people didn't even see the track when they played the game at the time. And yeah, the only time you have to drive it is actually in this license test. So what makes it a bit hard to get the gold on when you play it casually is that you pretty much need to learn the track just for this test. Because you usually never played that up until that point. So yeah, it's a pretty cool track. It's quite a shame that it never made it back into a GT game.
It looks like a bit of a handful. I mean,
pretty fast-paced for a city circuit.
One thing that GT was definitely unique for was city circuits, I think.
Yeah, I love the city circuit in GT games. There are 2 more corners. So yeah, it's one of the track you see the least often in Gran Turismo games, because this is the only game you can play it, and even in this game it barely appears. I don't think I will gold this one though. It was not a very good lap. Yeah, pretty far from it actually. But yeah, we have only one more test to go, and yeah, when you're on PB pace, this one is a bit scary because it's Apricot Hill with the GT1, and the GT1 is very fast, but it also understeers a lot. And of course, you have to redo it if you put 4 wheels in the grass, which would kill any PB attempt. And there is that last chicane, which is pretty scary, even though, usually when you play just races on this game, you just cut it through the grass, but here you cannot, obviously, so it's a pretty tight space there. This person just steering a lot, for making through. You can spin also on this hairpin, so I will just take it in 3rd gear for safety. But it spin a lot less.
Also, I love all the Exxon,
yeah.
is it?
And so this one is a 99 GT1.
Yeah.
So here is the chicane coming up. Hopefully I will not choke it. Yeah, I slow down quite a lot. But yeah, as you can see, there's not much room to deal with, and if you're 1 pixel too far into the grass, you have to do it again. And time is coming up right at the finish line. And time.
Nice, 48-48.
Yeah, 48-48.
Yeah, same numbers, all that jazz. Nice. Might as well fill it out. Why not? So that's the S license. That is all license.
that's the S license done. So yeah, we made it through all the license tests. So now we could complete the entirety of the game from now on.
And now, for the
But
next
that
one.
would be for another time, I guess. And we actually have one last donation. So if you want to read that, feel free to do so.
Sure. We have Anonymous with $5 saying just zoom. That goes to Saving Kappa and the message at 100% incentive later on.
And yeah, as a last shout out to the Gran Turismo community, Gran Turismo speedrunning community, pretty cool people. Also shout out to the Need for Speedrun community. I hang out a lot with a lot of these people because I also run some Need for Speed games. So yeah, really cool people. Shout out to them. And yeah, shout out also to all the friends I made to ESA. It's the third time I come to this event, and yeah, I'm glad I met so many cool people in there. And yeah, and also shout out to Silver, Link Boss, and Super Player because we made a 15-hour car trip to get there, to get to this event after our flight turned around near Copenhagen on Friday due to the heavy winds. So yeah, it was quite an adventure, but we made it safely, and it was definitely worth it.
You said quite an adventure. You were asleep for half of it, weren't you?
I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I'll give you that. I'll give you some slack. Never mind.
So yeah, thank you ESA for having me. Thank you ESA for leaving so much room for racing games in your marathon. There's very few marathons doing that, so I'm really, grateful for that. And yeah, I hope to show more games in the next ESAs.
Thank you guys, and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a quick intermission.